Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the Lumen and how to get the best results using any sort of tracking device. So I have been using the Lumen for several weeks now, but I did a very specific experiment over the course of probably the last 30 days or so, around 7 to 10 day experiments. So I ran about a 3-week process. And I did very specific things each week to kind of go through what I hear a lot on the streets with the frustration that women specifically are having with the Lumen, even more specifically women in my age group. So the post-menopausal type of age frame and where it is we're not getting the results that we are hoping to get. So welcome, my name is Ann Parham. I am the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. We have new courses that start every single month on the first Saturday of the month, and I teach you how to do what I'm going to share with you on this aspect of using intermittent fasting to help you actually get amazing results with a device like the Lumen. So like I said, I ran a 3-week test. I did the Lumen, or used the Lumen to measure results with my way, the way I know that I work best with nutrition, with fasting, and with training. So the fast long, feast well, train smart approach. I used their way. So I put everything that I had been practicing aside, and I went in very coachable, and I did exactly what the Lumen suggested I do based on the results that I was getting from using the device. And then I did what I hear a lot of people say, especially women, is I got really frustrated here and I said, oh, screw it, I'm not going to track anything, and I wanted to see what my body was going to do. So I did it my way, I did it their way, and then I just said, no way, I'm going to take a break. So let me explain to you what happened during that 3-week process. And if you haven't already done so, please take a second to hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel, and make sure you give me a thumbs up here on YouTube as well. That lets me know you were here and lets me know that this is the content that you are looking for here on this channel. So let's go through my way. Fast long, feast well, train smart. That is the approach that I use for coaching women when they're feeling frustrated with, more specifically, how they're aging, the body fat that they're accumulating and having trouble getting rid of, and fat accumulation. So I call it the trifecta to aging successfully. Fast long, feast well, train smart. My first week, that's what I did. I incorporated what I practice and what I teach here in this community. What does that mean? So I feast intuitively, meaning I know what nutrition works best for me, and I know how much nutrition works best for me, and I intuitively leaned into that during this week of testing my way with the Lumen. I also incorporated my intermittent fasting. So I fasted long enough on any given day to get the results that I was hoping for, and I monitored my fasting based on what I was doing in my training window as well. So more intense training days, I tend to fast a little bit shorter, and I tend to just consume a little bit more in the feasting arena. On less intense days for training, I just reverse that, right? So I fast a little longer, I eat a little less. I know how to regulate that in my own body. When I did that, my Lumen testing was as advertised, meaning I got the same results that were expected from someone who was doing it their way. So I woke up in fat burning mode. I went to bed, or at the end of the night, I was utilizing carbohydrates. So that's what the Lumen does for us. It helps us track our metabolic flexibility, or how efficiently our body goes from utilizing carbohydrates, aka glucose, or how efficient our body utilizes fat, nutrition, and or fat that we're storing on our body. So everything was picture perfect this week. I lost a lot of weight that was primarily body fat. Like, I felt it melting away in my body, and I could see it disappearing. I tracked that on a scale, and I could also see those changes on my scale tracker as well. So this week was picture perfect using the Lumen to track the decisions that I was making. So then I thought, okay, well, what if someone doesn't know this and they're doing it per the Lumen suggestions? And the Lumen suggestions are very probably smart for maybe 40-year-olds and younger. I don't know. But the community of women that I coach and the macro suggestions that I saw and the feeding suggestions and a lot of the feedback that I'm hearing and the complaints that I'm seeing are that it's way too much food. But I'm like, I'm going to test it and just see how it works. So I followed a very aggressive macro plan. I did my absolute best to meet their macro requirements, and I physically could not get all of that food into my body in the span of time where I was choosing to feast in a given day. I had to shorten my fasting window, not because I felt like I needed to break my fast, but because I didn't have enough time in the day to accommodate all the food recommendations that this device was recommending to me based on the breaths that I was blowing into it. The other thing was, is I felt as if I was having to exercise away food that I had previously eaten. And that it really, for me, goes against how I like to coach other women as well. If you follow me here, you know that I say that we exercise for our future self. We don't exercise away bad food decisions. And for me, emotionally, I went back to that place where I was feeling like every time I worked out, I was working out to get the food out of my system. That's not a very healthy approach for me, and I don't like to live in that place. So for me, it was not only physically exhausting to consume all of that food, but it was mentally and emotionally very burdensome as well. I ended up gaining a lot of weight in the week. So the weight that I lost when I did it my way, I gained back immediately. I felt bloated. I felt heavy. I felt very preoccupied about measuring food and managing food. I felt very exhausted by that. And I just literally felt awful. I felt like I was full up to here all of the time. And my Lumen numbers did not pan out the way they're supposed to when you're following their suggested macro plans. Now, I want to say that this is in no way a diss to Lumen. I absolutely love the device. But what I want to show here is that you have to understand your own body. You have to understand what season of life that you are in and what it is you say that you really want for yourself. And following someone else's blanket macro plans or calorie suggestions or meal plans has never worked for us in the first place. And it definitely is not working for us in this season of life. And I proved that by just changing this for 1 week. I could not get all the food in any given day. So I maybe got to about 75% of what the macro suggestions were, and I physically could just kind of eat anymore. So then I was frustrated. I felt awful. I felt sluggish. And we were home on sort of a vacation type of week anyway. So I thought, what, I'm just going to give myself a break and then I'm going to reset, and get myself back on track. So I didn't fast like I usually do. I didn't measure any food or track any food. I didn't really blow in my Lumen consistently. I kind of just didn't think about it. And I didn't track my water intake. So what happened on this week? Leg cramps came back. Again, I felt foggy brained. I felt very sluggish. I felt tired all the time. I just didn't feel good. Now, I didn't go off track with any of my food decisions because there's just things I will not consume because they do put me way out of balance hormonally and they just make me feel awful. So the only thing that I stopped doing was tracking and making me a priority. That's all I did this week. Where a lot of women have this week, they call it, the throwing in the towel or the falling off the wagon or just giving up. And I thought, God, what happens when if I would just give up? So I just stopped tracking things and I stopped making me and the way I want to look and feel a priority for myself for a week, knowing that as soon as that week was over, I was going to go back to my way. So what happened when I went back to my way? So my way again, right? I went back to fasting long, feasting well, and training smart. feasting the way I know works best for my body. Fasting long enough for my body to utilize the energy that I'm putting in it so that it does not go into storage. And I'm using the Lumen the way I did the very first week of what I'm sharing with you guys here. And I used it to anticipate my next move. If I do this thing, what am I expecting my body to do in processing that next move? So how is my exercise response? Am I actually depleting glycogen stores through exercise? You know that with what you blow in a Lumen device. Is the food that I'm consuming at night allowing my body to utilize the carbohydrates or just the food in general that I'm putting into it? That's called breaking a fast. And you know that that's happening when you blow a higher number in the evening. And then when I wake up, has my body had the opportunity to utilize what I had readily available and start tapping into those fat stores to utilize that for energy, blowing a 1, 2, or what I consider a 3 being successful in the morning? And lo and behold, this came right back. Already seeing the body fat changes, the weight changes, energy's coming back, bloating's going away, optimism is back, and I'm enjoying my exercise again because I'm doing it the way that I know that works for me. So when I was doing it their way, I was what I call classic overeating, right? And when we eat, when we don't feel like we need to eat, what happens is our body puts that in storage. When you're consuming more than your body can utilize, that goes into storage. We talk here a lot about we either utilize energy or we store energy. When we store energy, your body is going to determine how that energy is stored if it's not utilized. It goes into our cells and it gets hoarded on our body in body fat. So this is exactly what happened when I put more into my body than it could utilize. It just stored it away as energy. When I got back to doing the way that I know works for me and I know works for a lot of women here in this community, by fasting long, feasting well, and training smart, everything just went back to normal. No mind drama, no emotional drama. I just fell right back into place. So this is the advice that I want to give women here in this community. When you're using something like a Lumen, when you're using any kind of device to track what it is you're doing, to determine if whether what you're doing is right for you or not working for you, you have to just trust this as just plain facts. And we have to learn how to take the emotion out of the results that we get. So the one thing that I can say during this whole process, even during the week that I did not feel good, I didn't have any emotional attachment to the results that I was getting. I just knew I was doing an experiment that wasn't working for me. And that's really what I want us to start practicing and understanding here in this community. If you're not happy with the results that you're getting with the food choices that you're making or the exercise you're partaking in, or maybe even the fasting that you're doing, we have to take the emotion out of it and go to the straight facts. What choices are you making? Are those choices working for you? And how are you feeling about the results that you're getting? Feeling about the results meaning like, are they serving what you say that you really want? And if they're not, then we have to be willing to make some changes. We have to be willing to go back to the drawing board and just start over until we can create a plan that works for us. So I don't count macros. I don't count calories. The only thing that I really monitor is how often I'm fasting, meaning how many hours I'm fasting, and what I'm doing in my training. The food aspect for me has become very simplified and very intuitive, and I rinse and repeat what works for me so that I'm not feeling like I have to be obsessed about nutrition. And I'll tell you what, when I do my nutrition and I make choices intuitively, this Lumen gives me the results as advertised. I am able to be very metabolically flexible. The other thing that I want to share with you guys here is I talk a lot about fasting long, feasting well, and training smart, but there are other components to metabolic flexibility as well, which will determine, so these other aspects will determine whether or not you're going to be successful with what you're doing in this, right? So the trifecta to aging successfully is 3 things, but there's also stress we have to think about, sleep we have to think about, and we also have to consider how hydrated our body is. All of those things together will really help you become metabolically flexible. It is not just exercise calories out and food calories in. We have to make sure that we have all aspects of metabolism in check and we're monitoring those on a daily basis. So I'm back to doing me. I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. I just started training for a half marathon. I'm super excited about it. I will be using my Lumen to help me kind of stay in check with my glycogen stores and glycogen depletion and how I'm utilizing my fat for energy. I will train fasted like I do today, and I will not probably make many changes in my nutrition, even though I'm going to be training for a half marathon. I'm going to let how my body is utilizing the energy that I have in storage, the energy that I'm putting in every single day, and how I'm able to use fat as a metabolized source of energy as well. So I'm super excited about it. I want to make sure that if you bought a Lumen, that you're not letting this become something that's going to emotionally derail you. It's just facts, right? Either you ate something or you did something or you didn't get a good night's sleep or you're going through a stressful situation and that could skew your numbers, or you're in a time in your life where you have an opportunity to manage all of those things and you're going to have an opportunity to get the numbers that are advertised. So what we are shooting for is a 1, 2, or 3. This is how I coach it. 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. And you want to make sure that after you break your fast, your numbers go up so that you know your body is actually utilizing what you just put into it. And then in the morning, you want to make sure that your numbers go back down. I also have no emotional connection to any time I blow in this thing and the numbers that come out of it. I use that as gee whiz, that's interesting. Even when I wake up in the morning and I blow a 3, I work out in the morning. So if I blow a 3, which means I have carbs and fat available, or glucose and fat available for energy, I just know I'm going to go utilize it. So it's no big deal. This is not going to tell you whether you did anything right or wrong. You're going to make informed decisions every time you make a decision. This is just going to tell you how your body is chemically and hormonally responding to those decisions. And if you don't like it, you just make different decisions. It's really that simple. So I hope this helps you take some of the emotion out of using a device like a Lumen. Like I said, I absolutely love this device, but you have to make sure that you're creating a very healthy relationship with this device so that it doesn't make you feel bad about you and the choices that you're making. So I'm super excited. I'm going to take you guys along on the journey with me through my half marathon training and some of the things that I'm doing with my fasting, my feasting, and my training smart. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you've subscribed. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you're feeling frustrated or you're confused about this device. It really shouldn't be that complicated. And if you have been fasting here in this community with me, you should have a leg up. So don't change too much on your nutrition. What I recommend if you're new to the Lumen is you use it for 2 full weeks before you make any changes, just to see where your body's at, get a nice baseline, and then you're going to make small incremental changes just to adjust what it is you're hoping to get as far as results. So super excited, great device. If you're interested in getting one, I'll leave all the information down below. Again, it's just a device. It's providing information. Make sure you use it as a tool, and then you will get the results that you're hoping for, and then you'll be super excited about it as well, which is where we're supposed to be. Thanks for checking in today. I'll see you guys back here on Monday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget, we have an intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course starting this Saturday. If you're interested in jumping in, the link and all the information is down below. If you practice fasting long, feasting well, and training smart, I promise you using this device will be so much fun and will be so much easier for you to get those results you're hoping for. Have a good day.